Hello, my name is Hal Case, and I am the storyteller of the long-running Werewolf the Apocalypse and Mage the Ascension game, The Awakening Chronicle. We are still experimenting, exploring the ins and outs of different techniques for online play, and you will see some successes and missteps in that process tonight. This is a learning experience. Today's solo scene stars Michael Castillo. It is connected to Story 10, Chapter 5, and is titled Home. And now, let's tell a story about werewolves. Tell the folks at home who you are and who you are playing.
Hello everyone, especially the folks at home. Hi, my name is Michael, and I am playing Gabriel, Dreams of Harmony, and he is a Uktena Ragabash that has social anxiety disorder. He hates people. And yet somehow, just somehow, maybe it's the cynicism in his heart, really, it most likely is that it allows him to really pull out that desire and kindle it like a flame to really pull the rug under someone. Make their days absolutely abysmal. It's mostly cynicism.
That's a fun description.
And
to set up a little bit here today, Gabriel has had a bit of an identity and life crisis. You know, he was in Los Angeles with the Eye of the Storm, and he was, fighting the good fight. But he's been questioning himself, a lot of things about himself and what he's doing. And so he has retreated back to his homeland, to the land of his birth, which is Brazil. In fact, he's actually from the Amazon basin himself. So he has returned there after many years. And he just has been traveling up the Manacapuru River in that area and has spent the night in an indigenous village and been warned about a place called Ranch Apocalypse, which is down the town of Manacapuru and past the Rio and down the Rio Manacapuru, which is a tributary and part of the Amazon River. That is where we find this. Had a strange encounter with a local Apurinia man named Dario Kakayori, and it has been a long night for him. He has not slept, and it's been raining, humid and dense. We are in part of the rainy season, and here he is in this indigenous village, and has been speaking with spirits and with strange visitors of various kinds all night. Let's pick up here in the area of Manacapuru in Brazil. So Gabriel, you have awakened, you have not slept, but the day has come, and you have bid your adieu to these rather strange Kinfolk villagers that you encountered, who have told you about goings-on on the river, and about also the Bastet and other things. And you had an encounter with what you think was one of the Bastet yourself, briefly, last night.
Right.
What next is his course of action?
After such a long night, kind of going ahead and tussling and turning, and probably more realistically, he slept on some sort of fabric floor, or at best. Gabriel is going to go ahead, wake up, wipe the sweat from his brow, and kind of take a second to refresh himself on the night's events. All these things kind of come through his mind, but he's having a real tough time kind of concentrating on each and every little thing and kind of putting it together like a full puzzle. He's just grabbing each piece and visualizing them and saying, oh, I did do that, or I did speak to this owl, or there was some sort of leopard-like creature out in the forest. It's hard. He finds himself almost looking from a third-party perspective. He's distancing himself from reality and maybe disassociating a little bit. At least that's what it seems like to him. And it's that cold analysis that kind of really goes ahead and stems from like his own, I would say, his own wisdom of the situation. He's able to kind of perceive through this cool-headedness, this creative logic that he has, that he knows he's disassociating. But yet that doesn't really change anything, does it? We can all be like, yeah, I feel angry right now, but just because you're aware that you're angry doesn't make anything better. And that's how he finds himself. He finds himself thinking, oh, I can try breathing techniques to do this better, and it's not there for him, right? So he kind of quickly gives up on the thing. The thoughts fade away, they distance themselves. He thinks to himself, I can take care of that later. I'd like to reiterate and kind of go step back here and say that he's probably one of the first to wake up, or to give up on sleeping, more accurately, as he stands up and he sees in the distance what seems to be the beginnings of a day for other peoples. He's appreciative, of course, that they let them stay. I mean, these are kinfolk. If I recall correctly, I believe they're Uktena kinfolk. And then always there's much love and appreciation for the Uktena kinfolk, but it's been so long that a small conversation with the chieftain of these group, it feels very foreign to him. The Portuguese doesn't seem to flow off the tongue very well anymore. So he gets up, he grabs his things, and he kind of goes ahead and just maybe leaves a couple things here and there that he believes may be of use to them. You know, he grabs one of his daggers that he keeps with him. It's a rough stone carved dagger, probably from his childhood, still kept sharp. He leaves it with them, along with a note, so that he keeps weighted with his dagger, explaining that he's leaving, that he appreciates the night. Again, though he may be fluent and he has all these skills that make things easier for him to speak foreign languages, it's in the action of doing so that's like, I haven't done this in years.
Does that include his indigenous language?
Yes, of course.
So that is part of the challenge as well. He's struggling with that also. Got it.
Yeah, it's he has again all these gifts that like make translating things super easy. He can write in any language of the world, but his heart is pulling at him. It's not so much the skill or lack of dev knowledge thereof. It's the emotion behind it, and it's tough.
Okay.
Every stroke of his pencil on paper is almost weighted by chain. Until finally he writes a very solemn, "Thank you for letting me stay here. I appreciate your kindness, your good words, the information you've shared with me, and your generosity. And with that, I'll leave you this. I hope one day our paths cross again."
Very good. And so what does he take with him? He takes Mayatsanil and...
Yes, he takes obviously his necessary gear that he thinks he's going to need. But more than anything, yes, he will be taking Mayatsanil, a pack that he picked himself up at the airport upon landing. Now this pack has very basic necessities, just a very simple cargo backpack, a roll for laying anywhere, a machete, because he'd rather not dull a relic with cutting through the savannah.
Yeah, Mayatsanil, the tomahawk of a younger brother that was that you had acquired after the death of your brief pack mate. It's a sacred tool, so it's not necessarily for hacking through vines in the Amazon.
It's almost disrespectful to whatever gives it its power. So he'll keep his machete. And compass, though his sense of direction is immaculate, he doesn't need it. But it's almost like the idea of having a compass. You might as well have it.
Okay, so if he's not following the compass, what lodestar is he following right now?
And that's the point. He's so disassociating with it that he just picked a direction and he walked.
Okay. And which direction is that?
I'm gonna roll dice.
That's good. And I know where you are.
Let's see. 1 is north, 2 is west, 3 is east. So I rolled a 3. He is going east.
East. Okay. East is back toward Manaus.
That's backwards. Let's not go
That's
there.
backwards, yeah. So east is back where you came from.
So
You are currently in the... Actually, you're actually currently in a...
then I'll go west. I'll go the opposite of east. We'll go west.
All right. Very good. So he's leaving this village in the Manakapuru area. The name of the village was... Grabbing it here. It's been a minute since I looked that one up. Oh, I've not seen them. I have got it in my notes somewhere. I missed it. But it's a little indigenous village west of Manaus.
Okay.
And it was, on these elevated structures. Mm-hmm. And you're leaving in a. It's not a heavy rain. It's just a constant low drizzle, which just defines this kind of late phase of the rainy season.
Right.
And it's frankly quite brutal. It's almost worse than heavy rain sometimes. So you are in the state of Amazonas, and you had been... Here it is. Fortaleza do Patawa is the name of the little village.
I believe it.
So you're going directly west. You've left the more civilized parts of the area.
Mm-hmm.
And heading west, you have left the Rio Negro behind. That was back behind you to the west, the Rio Negro, where it would meet Manaus. So now up ahead of you is the Rio directly to your west. As you leave the civilized areas, you go off in the jungles toward Rio Manakapuru. Oh, sorry. It's part of the Manakapuru. And it's very rough territory at this point. You've gone through some fields and some farms, but now you're getting in jungle. Mm-hmm. You're getting to where there's streams every little bit. You have to either ford or hop. And you realize that where this river goes, rather where this land, where this westward wandering has been taking you, is towards what had once been the headquarters of DFG, which had been the logging company that had been the principal adversary of the Garou in the Amazon. Now, DFG has largely moved on to other areas, but their headquarters, you've been told, still remains. Although you haven't seen the place you knew it existed, but you haven't seen the place in many years. Because you were quite young when you were pretty young when you left Brazil, and you weren't very involved in the war, given that you were one of the indigenous Garou, rather than one of the part of Gogol's Fangs First and his foreign adventurers.
Do I know if... I probably don't. It's been years, and I don't know if I bothered to keep on top of it. But do I know if the DFG headquarters is still staffed, by chance?
When you spoke with the villager, now you did fight DFG somewhat back in the day, but you weren't part of that whole thing. You had been advised that it was no longer occupied by the company. He has warned you that the poison of the rage of the Garou, who were continuously trying to strike this place, and
that's right.
And the poison of the rage, and the poison of the various chemicals and everything else that came of this war, has been flowing into the Manakapuru, and from there down into the Amazon. And that the place is no longer occupied, but it is poisonous. And that beyond it, further to the west, apparently Gabriel's random feet are leading him toward other things. Because further down the Manakapuru, eventually he would reach Ranch Apocalypse, which had at one point been the kind of the forward base of the of the Garou War in the
Right.
Amazon. Not their chief headquarters, the Sept of the Hollow Heart, but the one that was nearest and used as their primary staging area for attacking DFG. And you've been told that that has also become a deeply corrupted place in the wake of the great slaughter that occurred there. And Gabriel remembers that the village that he's from is not far from this region. Some of his family, one of his brothers, worked for DFG. In fact, the one who inadvertently triggered Gabriel's first change. So as he's walking through the jungle, stepping over streams, ducking below vines, wiping sweat and rain off his brow, these are memories that dwell on him in his kind of dissociating state. And it sounds like the hacking of the machete is very far away. If it weren't for the fact that there's tiny sounds of life all around, he would feel, or rather he would appear to be nearly as alone as he feels in his head. But as he continues on his way, give me a perception plus alertness. Difficulty 7.
All right. No successes.
No successes. Okay. So he doesn't really hear any. He barely even hears the cricket, the chirping of the insects and the croaking of birds, the slosh of water. It's all just a haze to him, and he's walking for hours and hours. And it's gotta be, did he even bother stopping for lunch?
Probably not.
Okay. So it's getting on toward noon. And although you don't consciously know how far it's gone, you've probably gone a good 15 miles through the jungle already. You've been moving fairly quickly, given the rough terrain. But you have that unerring sense of direction, even if you're not consciously following it all the time. It appears to be that some part of you knows where you're supposed to go. And as you journey through this place, you finally start smelling. You smell it before you see it. You smell decay. You smell petroleum. You smell standing water. You see the stumps of trees. You see the scar of a road with the tracks through the mud, with the raindrops, little rings in the track marks that are who knows how old, but old enough that it's from before the rains, and gradually wearing away those track marks from probably a truck of some kind. And then you see ahead of you, you see cement walls with barbed wire on the top of them, and actual machine gun nests, except that they're empty. And the stands for the guns are there, but the guns are gone. And you see, mostly faded and covered in lichen, you do see a stenciled on insignia on one of these concrete walls. DFG.
With disappointment and a bit of surprise, as my feet have unknowingly, but also in many ways consciously, taken me to where my destination is. I take a second to just pause and look at my surroundings, to really take in the history of what I'm looking at. You see, I see a plate that says DFG with lichen on it. I approach, and with the tips of my fingers, take a second to feel the dirt and dust on the walls, to really understand the passing of age that has hit this location. I remember from my adolescence hearing vague stories, and almost as if they were nightmares retold by friends and family, waking dreams passing into reality, where creatures of awful, almost unrealistic, but yet in this situation as real as it gets, coming from here, hurting others, taking others. But at the end of it all, there's nothing comparable to this sense of disgust that kind of fills my chest as I remember the feeling of my brother's blood on my hands, knowing that he got his chainsaw from here. I try to picture for a second the enlistment. A young Amazonian boy barely able to speak the white man's language, or I say that in comparison to us, deep in the woods, only speaking our indigenous tongue, in search of the fantasies that he's been told, of the lights, the electricity, all of that, only to reach the cities themselves and within moments almost getting pounced on. Recruiters coming in. I can only picture it, just how quickly he was lured and seduced by that snake-like tongue. In moments, handing him a chainsaw, putting a helmet on his head and saying, just pushing him back into his homeland. Go wild and get money. It's awful. And so with that said, the dredges in his of just awful feelings in his chest kind of given physical form. Did I come here, he thinks to himself, because I want to see what took him? Or did I come here because I want to see what burdened my people and killed us all for so long? Is this a history journey, a journey of reflection, or a journey of selfish wants and needs? And he's not sure how to answer that question himself. He looks for a door, a gate.
Okay. So he crosses he passes some broken down, torn, barbed wire obstacles. Mm-hmm. And this area has been increasingly overgrown, and yet the growth that's here looks diseased, unwholesome. He crosses what was once clearly at least 50 meters of just an open kill zone before the actual walls themselves. Mm-hmm. And he can see the tower of the Pentex facility behind. Still standing, still very impressive despite being covered and being partially overgrown. Now, the jungle is in process of reclaiming this place, but looks like it's almost better if it wouldn't. And he reaches a gate, and there's very little that's moving. He doesn't even hear insects anymore. Now that he's in here, that he's at this gate, it's closed, but it's right there in front of him. The front gates that at one point, years prior, your brother must have walked through, and that Garou and the Balaam Jaguars must have attacked this area innumerable times. And you can see, craters from grenades and artillery in this killing field you just walked through. And you could swear that you saw bones jutting out of it here and there. But how old they were, definitely picked clean. It's tough to tell what they were from, whether it was human, from what little you could see, or whether it was Garou or something else. So he finds himself there at that gate.
I assume this is like some sort of wrought iron gate.
Yeah, it's metal. Big metal valves.
Mm.
Big double door. Designed to be open mechanically from inside.
Towering over me.
Yeah, it's at least 3 times your height. It was designed to have big vehicles go through here. Trucks.
Giving me the impression of like a fortress of some sort.
And you can tell that this place literally was a fortress. It was designed to be attacked by Garou, not just individual packs, but multiple septs worth at once.
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine what it must have been like to rush those walls with a couple dozen Garou, not sure if any of you would go home.
You really get a sense of scale as I turn around to look at the field of death I just walked through. Actual war-torn battle scars visible in front of me, and as you mentioned, I'm able to see the bones and horrors that were there, only to be met with this hurdle, this huge door surrounded by artillery and defenses unimaginable to me. You look up and you see just how close yet so far they were to really making an impact. And to see the forest try to reclaim this, but yet here we are, this door's still standing. It leaves me with this desire to tear it down, to just grab it and wrench it from its hinges, but I'm not strong enough for that if my ancestors weren't. I guess what I want to see right now is I want to get a sense for the rage on this door. The lingering remnants of black magics unknown to me, or lingering curses left on this door, this area.
So you're going to use your sense magic gift.
Right.
Roll it.
I'll just put it in chat.
I see. Okay, very nice. That'll do it. Okay. The area is definitely under. There's definitely medicine here. Mm-hmm. In the older brother sense that there was medicine, like what the white man would call magic. It's definitely active in this place. And some of it feels closer to home than others. It seems like there's multiple forms of magic present in this place. Mm-hmm. Some of it may even be Gaian.
Like a blender of awful things. Some of it familiar, some of it very much not so.
Some of it very much, and some of it, he doesn't need to have the gift Sense Wyrm to know that the worm is heavy here. He can feel it in his pores on his skin. He can taste it on the roof of his mouth.
Despite the several years that have gone by, it's still so dense and still so potent. Just blanketing this whole region, like the chieftain had said.
So he's there before those doors. He can feel that there is medicine here. There are many questions.
And a lot of curiosity. I think at this point, knowing that the height is so immense, he wants to perhaps see if he can scale the wall.
Okay, so he's not going to use his gift for passing doors.
Open seal. He could do that, but that would be. You know what? It is against older mechanisms, right?
That'll work on almost any door. It'll actually that can actually open any container. If your pickle jar is stuck, you can get that open with open seal.
Can I get a scale for what the gnosis? What the gauntlet rating is right now?
The gauntlet here is 4.
Yeah.
No, 5. Sorry, the gauntlet is 5. It's very low. It's actually higher here than it was further out in the jungle, but it's still quite low here.
I see.
As you remember, out in the jungles, away from any mark of civilization, in some places like there was barely any gauntlet at all.
Right. Alright then, with that said, I'm gonna roll open seal, which is my gnosis, if I roll.
It is correct. That is correct. Against difficulty of the gauntlet.
9, 9, 4, and 8.
That'll do it. Okay. So that you put your hands to the doors, and with a groan of steel, they creak open. Then you see before you there's this vast compound with the tower in the middle of it and all these guard housing and vehicle maintenance areas. You can see all this stuff. There's a factory in there, laboratories, everything that one would need. Is essentially a miniature city. It must have had staffing at one time in the hundreds, but now it's got vines growing in the walkways and the hall and the between the buildings. It's got the ground is still muddy from the rain, and it sucks at your boots as you walk. And the building is forlorn and looming. That is what you find as you walk inside the former headquarters of DFG in the Amazon.
I chuckle to myself, find it funny, in an awful sort of way, how close yet so far they were possibly, but to find this door still sealed, despite tons of attempts. I imagine how much more crazy the gauntlet must have been, how many more protections there must have been in place to prevent our Uktena brethren and Ragabash brethren from going ahead and just opening this door through our gifts. And yet here we are, door wide open. The gates open to an invasion, yet there's nobody behind me to lead it. I ponder on the reclamation of the land, as we all know, Gaia takes all things back. Vines growing, but yet still so sickly. The Amazon doing its best to take what once was hers. And yet, these buildings still stand. Man-made constructions of the worst kind. You spoke of laboratories and encampments and bases and artilleries all standing around me. I guess I begin at the beginning.
Okay.
I go towards... I suppose I want to see how they lived first.
Okay.
I go to a nearby barrack if I can see it.
As you walk, there are some rows of barracks, and these are not like Quonset huts. These are not tents. These are constructed barracks. These are permanent buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And you're walking along toward this when you realize that your invasion of this place was not entirely solo. You glance back at the open gates, pondering, and there you see it's among some of the grasses and vines. You see a triangular head covered in spots and a pair of amber eyes looking back at you. Triangular ears back.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the jaguars of the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
It's not crouched to pounce, but it's observing you.
Mm-hmm.
And when your eyes reach it, it freezes in place, like one paw forward as it was moving to take another step following you.
I begin with persuasion.
Okay.
And I guess I can't force a happy tone, to be quite honest with you. I can't force anything to sound wholeheartedly optimistic. But bygones being bygones, situation being what it is, I speak in my native language in the direction of this Jaguar, and I do my best to express the following. I say, apologies if this makes you uncomfortable. I'm just here to see what once was, to understand my history. If you'd like, you may join me, but I mean no harm and no trespass.
You can feel, you can see the bristling of its whiskers as it tests the air, hearing what you say. You know that the Balaam have no love lost on the Garou, and that they fought the Garou almost as hard as they fought Pentex here in the jungles.
Right.
Sometimes allied, sometimes not. But even what alliance there was always fitful. And this cat glares. But then it kind of shakes its shoulders. And you can see, actually, although it's in its great cat form, it does have a necklace around its neck.
Mm-hmm.
Of small stones. A couple feathers hang from it. This is clearly not a natural cat. Probably no natural jaguar would want to wander in here. It pads toward you. Growls a couple times. With the kind of the but it draws closer, and then it sits back on its haunches and regards you a moment, as if making up its mind. And then, in a flicker, there's a woman where the cat once was. That rapid switching through shapes, almost instantaneous. She's possibly of mixed indigenous and European ancestry. You know, like much of Brazil. Dark hair, raven eyes. She's younger than you, but an adult woman. She's dressed in she's got a jacket and a top that's suited for dealing with the wet. And shorts, high socks, and hiking boots. So she's clearly accustomed to being, but you can tell she's comfortable being in the wilds, though she's also not shy about having modern equipment. There is looks like some, what might be war paint markings on her face in a few places. And maybe some scarification, some ritual scarification. That may be from the Balaam, or it might be from her, whatever tribe she's from. You don't know. There are hundreds or thousands of tribes out in the jungles. It's hard to know, although unfortunately fewer than there used to be. So it's hard to know which of these traditions these markings are from. She holds in her hands, it's she has a machete in her hand, as one does.
Mm-hmm.
And she walks toward you, hips swaying in what's probably an unconsciously sensuous way. Cat-like, you might say. As much a cat when she's human as when she's a jaguar.
Mm-hmm.
She walks right up to you. Takes a deep breath, clearly containing herself.
Mm-hmm.
And responds to you in your own native language as well, having clearly understood it. Why are you here, Dogskin?
I sigh, but I want to really express that I just don't care if she's here or not. I really just don't care. I guess that's the reality here. She's here. I'm talking to her. But this moment in time doesn't mean anything to me. So, let that come across in my expression, in my posture. I say, I used to live near here. I was raised here, but I left long ago. I didn't get to see what happened. I suppose I just want to understand. And you don't understand through words, through books, through stories. You would just understand with your eyes. It's not a complicated reason.
What do you hope to understand?
I don't have a particular objective. Guess I just want to know what my people went through, what your people went through. And I suppose you start at the beginning, don't you?
I suppose, she says. She's still kind of quietly seething at having a Garou here, but she doesn't appear to disagree with the premise. Her lips purse. Says, "What is it you're looking for?"
I guess I was about to go to that barrack over there. I guess what I'm looking for is a document, a journal, something that hasn't already been picked clean.
This place has been contained. When the Garou fled, claimed victory, which was a defeat, and that fled. When the Wyrm men left, no longer needing to do the work they were doing here, we have had to contain this place. We have had to lock in the problem that your people left for us. You won't find any documents there. We have been through it. There's nothing here but poison and corruption, Banes spawn here. The river dies here. This place has no answers for you.
Then I suppose you wouldn't mind me looking around then, huh?
I will accompany you.
Thank you for that. I know you're just here to keep an eye on me, but it's been lonely. Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to begin.
Wolves must run in packs, I'm told.
That they do, but you've heard of the term lone wolf before, haven't you?
I can divine the meaning. What do they call you?
Well, I suppose my current name is Gabriel Dreams of Harmony. But I had a native name long ago. But, well, that's for later, if you don't mind. You can just call me Gabe.
Very well, Gabe.
Well,
you may call me Aline.
I would say it's a pleasure to meet you, Aline, but I suppose with things as tense as they are, I wish we had met under better circumstances.
She kind of gives a little... Mm-hmm.
How often do you travel these jungles? I say as I walk towards my destination.
You might have been born here. But these jungles are my home.
So what is that, daily? Weekly?
Always.
That must be tiresome. I never was a fan of the mosquitoes myself. As I kind of like push brush aside and make my way inside.
The Weaver's cities may have made you soft. I can see the attraction though. No one likes mosquitoes.
Air conditioning, no stagnant water. Not having to go out and hunt for my food every day. Though I do miss that sometimes.
Be careful what you catch in these waters.
So I've heard. I must have made things hard on you. Not knowing whether the food you eat is good or not.
We have ways to tell.
I assume you'd have to learn it, or else die, and you're clearly here, so... Oh. Common sense shows me what common sense does, but I'm glad you're here, for all intents and purposes. Alright, I'm greeted. I walk into this room, I see a bunch of beds, I assume, in like military fashion.
Yeah, it's, many of the blankets have been abandoned. They've now moldered. There's moldy. You can see some of the footlockers. Stuff has been left behind, but everything's been there for years. It's hard to tell what most of it was. Even you can see a snake slithering across the middle of the room. Nothing has lived in this place in a long time. Well, nothing two-legged has lived in this place in a long time. You can see animal tracks. The floor was cement, but in a lot of places you can't even see the cement because of the bits of mud that have gotten in here and bits of dirt that have gotten in. It hasn't been reclaimed, but it's in process of being reclaimed. But yet still, you can almost hear the echoing shouts of men being called to man the walls, rousted out of bed, and told to pack their silver.
Shitty construction, I say, as I kind of go ahead and start kicking the wall. Nothing. It's all foreign material, all foreign bullshit. Nothing like what we grew up with. These blankets. Awful. But I guess I kind of just wonder, in the lands where I live right now, they have stories of wars, human wars, or I guess, and they always talk about that feeling of hearing these sirens go off and rushing to bed, taking what you can and going to arms. They weirdly put it as patriotic. Something to be proud of, good memories, but I always end up thinking how fucking awful that must have been. When I look at this and I look at the way they slept in this construction, I wonder how could they do what they did? What motivated them? Money only goes so far, I think, sometimes, and yet here they are.
It seems to have gone far enough for these men.
And which is what impresses me.
My change came after they left. I deal with the ghosts they leave behind.
Yeah. Lucky. My change was stirring. I go towards a nearby bed, or a cot, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it the obligatory up and down. I assume the bed is completely torn apart, sheets are thrown away, bed is rotted.
It's disgusting. It's molded. It's musty. It's parts of it just leave dust away when you bring your hands off it. It's in really bad shape. And the gridding of the wires underneath it is all rusted, and it creaks horribly when you touch it.
Really was the bare minimum.
Didn't want to spend money to make money, the woman says.
Yep, really does. I wonder how they felt waking up every morning knowing they were going to war with someone as prideful, as honorable, or as violent as us. And yet they still got out of bed. I don't know if that's something to be admired, or if that's something to just laugh at. How pitiful it is to sell your soul for $1.
There wasn't much left after. What lands is it you've gone to? You went to America?
I went to America first, yes. I got out when, I hate to say it, but I got out when the going was good. But since then, I've traveled the world. I've gone to Egypt. I've seen the Nile with my own 2 eyes. Pyramids. I've gone to Pakistan and Afghanistan. I've seen Syria. Spent some time in Hungary. I've gone to Lebanon. I've seen parts of Europe, Italy. I've seen the Roman Colosseum. I've spoken the languages and more of every single culture I've seen. I can confidently say there's not a language in this world that I can't speak. But yet, this is the first time I've been home since.
So is it home?
I don't know yet. It doesn't feel like home just yet. This is not home. where we stand right now.
Not for you, not for me.
It's just... it's a stain on this earth is what it is.
It is a seeping abscess.
It seems like...
it will not be safe to remain here long. If you draw their attention, many banes will come for you. While I would not necessarily mourn your passing, it would do Gaia no particular good to have you die. Or me.
Yeah. You can leave it any time you want. It doesn't bother me at all. But
I am not afraid of them.
I'm sure you're not. Never said you were. Alright, well, I guess this is the impression I'm gonna get from looking at their beds. I suppose I was hoping for a journal. I wanted to see what they thought of, what they wrote. A diary of some sort, but I don't think I'm gonna find that.
I think that some things of that kind were found here once.
Probably
but it has
burned,
been a
I
long
take it.
time. We have tried to take what secrets we could, but mostly we have tried to keep this place away from the rest of the jungle
Its own little bubble.
as best we could.
I guess a part of me wants to see if I can sense any, like, spirits in the area I could commune with.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe something older, not like a bane, but just to hear their tales.
So what are you going to do to see if you can find them?
Spread out my senses.
Mm-hmm. You're still in the physical world.
Yeah. And I want to peer into the Umbra for a second.
So do you have that gift to peer into the Umbra without stepping sideways?
I believe so. Guess not. No, I don't
Okay.
have it.
So you could venture in to see.
But then that would just put me on red alert.
Yeah, that might be pouring chum in shark-infested waters.
Then I will nix that idea.
You don't have your pack with you now.
No, that if
Just
I had
a surly werecat
Yep.
who
I'm sure it's been
probably wouldn't follow you in.
I would be surprised if she did. Then I guess I'll just go ahead and just take one last look at the room and make my way out. Go for it.
Go for it.
No, absolutely. Go for it.
As you're heading out, Aline says, "You have seen some of what they left behind. What you should see is what you left behind. What your people left behind."
Point the way.
She escorts you out of the killing field around the former headquarters and continues west. You can sense that other pairs of cat eyes following you every so often, but you don't see them directly. But they're there, somewhere, at one point or another. Ghosts in the jungle. At one point, it's by the time when you notice this, it's late in the afternoon. You notice winging through part of the canopy. A wide-winged bird. One of the Brazilian jungle owls that you saw last night. In the kind of twilight area below the canopy. The sun's not down, but the shadows are deepening, purpling. You see that owl kiting through. The rain has tapered slightly by the time you see that. Might be why you see the bird. And as you look and watch that bird fly by, the Balaam woman says, "Where is your pack, Gabe?"
I left them behind.
Her eyebrow goes up. Her shapely lips quirk to the side. Why?
I suppose you have some idea already. Why does a wolf go alone into the jungles of the Amazon from whence he came? I'm sure you have ideas. The most common sense one is sometimes the most correct one.
Your soul was hollow. You needed to fill it.
Bingo. Points go to the cat lady.
And there's a sassy cat to make the point.
Yep.
She says.
I know. It's what every backpacker does. They gather all their belongings, travel through Europe, and try to find meaning in the world, but what else was I gonna do? Go to therapy? Tell them about all the problems and nightmares I have in my sleep? As if that's gonna make anything clear. Hey, Mr. Therapist. Yeah, I'm a killer werewolf. I go around murdering people. I try to solve global warming with bloodshed. Hey, Mr. Therapist, there's an evil organization called Pentex. They're ruining everything.
Isn't that what you Garou have packs for? To share the
Yeah.
burden?
You know what? You'd think so. You'd think so. I go ahead, I speak to my pack leader, I say, hey, Rain, I'm not doing okay. What? So I can hear her holier-than-thou decisions on, hey, you shouldn't feel bad because Garou are like this. Hey, you shouldn't feel bad because shit sucks. I already know that.
In the
I have to solve
end,
my own problems this time.
all of us have to walk ourselves.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you probably get that better than most Garou do. Garou are very codependent, as I'm sure you're aware.
We don't have the luxury of always having someone covering our backs.
Oh yeah. Tell me about it. I've looked into it. Again, it is what it is. And, I have no other words than that.
She gestures on. And she says, we will not reach it today. It is far. And the sun is going down. And you are weary. Your feet, she points out, are barely leaving the ground when you walk. Now you've now gone for, 48 hours without sleep? And much of that time, that was out of character, much of that time you've been continuously in motion, in wet, in uneven terrain, in the rain, in not eating a lot, not drinking much, in self-neglect. And it's catching up.
I suppose no matter how awful I feel, I guess I just don't care.
Okay. You're continuing going for a while longer? Like A few more hours, or?
I suppose with someone at my side, when she tells me that I'm weary, as stupid as this sounds, I go, alright, she should probably eat at some point.
She doesn't disagree.
I guess I reach into my pack and I grab some dried fish, because I have dried rations from the local chieftain, and I kind of just hand it her way. Hey, here you go. I pull someone out for me.
She inclines her head in acknowledgement. I guess that's her way of saying thank you.
Wordlessly, I kind of just go for it. Mm-hmm.
She sniffs it as one might do to food that they're not quite sure of. Mm-hmm. But then she shrugs and takes a bite. Inclines her head again.
I grab one out of my pack as well, and I just wordlessly I start ripping flesh from bone.
And she just watches you the whole time. Doesn't say a word. There is that inescapable judgment in the eye of any cat. But she doesn't say anything as you're eating.
I guess I'm cognizant of it. Just this weird stare, but then I kind of just go ahead and look back at her and say, Do you watch everyone when they're eating? I don't have good table manners, I know, but if there's a better way I should be eating this, let me know.
She chuckles. It's not for the sake of your eating, but you are in our territory. So I watch. If I were in your territory, you would watch me also.
Got it. People get complacent. There's always pretense there of, hey, we're doing the right thing, we're watching over you, we're keeping foreigners out of our territory, but you'd be surprised the amount of things that have happened in the past decade out there.
Right.
Hey, fun fact, did you know there are entire packs out there that have made alliances with mages? Whoa.
Our people occasionally speak with the magic people, with the magic folk. I had not thought the wolves were sufficiently subtle.
What can I say? I think acquaintance of mine just married a witch. Don't remember exactly what part of their witchness it is. I suppose I could find out. She just married a wolf not too long ago.
Which one are you referring to?
Ro.
Oh, their marriage is in a few weeks from this scene.
Then I correct myself. It's I guess she got engaged to a wolf not too long ago, so things change.
Yeah, matter of fact, it's a double wedding, because Ro and Eel are both marrying their wolf guys, who are former packmates and best friends.
Yeah, it's true.
Although,
then I correct myself, like, yeah, I'm knowing two mages gonna marry two wolves in like a little bit.
She gives you kind of a "you're putting me on" kind of a face.
No, swear to God, or swear to Gaia.
Her eyes leave you for a moment because that owl flies by again, like low over the camp, and looks back to you.
Don't worry about it. One of my, I guess, friends would be the right word. She's a bit of a busybody.
We know a little bit about busybodies.
Why do you always say things like that? We know a little bit about this. We know a little bit about that. Can't you just say, yeah, I get it?
I get it.
There you go. Yeah, she's been watching me since last night.
She takes the form of an owl?
Well, that's her nickname, isn't it? Well, nickname's technically Eel, but she's always been good with owls. I suppose.
She gives you
Yeah, I
kind
know.
of
Yeah, I know. I don't get it either. She's a great person, though. Very kind, very sweet, and I know she's hearing me right now, so...
this would be one of the magicians.
Yep.
She looks around for the owl a little bit more. There is curiosity in her expression. She looks around.
As I mentioned, times are different now, though not for everybody, but for my group of people, yeah, things have been changing rapidly.
What things?
You know, can I be honest with you for a second here?
I hope so.
I'm bleeding my heart out to you simply because I know that, honestly, a few weeks, I don't know if we'll ever talk again. Suppose it really doesn't matter, does it? I might be alive, I might be dead, does it? Do you care?
We met today. How much could
Yeah.
I care? But also,
Probably
how much
not.
would you care if I died?
I guess I'd care a little. I feel bad for when young people die.
She goes kind of,
What do you want from me? I'm a Ragabash. I think about these things sometimes.
Ragabash, the new
Oh.
moon?
Yeah.
The troublemakers. We can relate more easily, perhaps, to the Ragabash than to some other wolf skins.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. The other types are kind of either up their own asses, smelling themselves, or assholes, or think they're way too smart for their own good. I just don't give a fuck.
Are your pack better?
I'd like to think so. Though, I guess in part, they do have a sense of holier than thou to them. Being realistic.
I don't think I've met a Garou who didn't.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the whole pretense... Can I be honest with you for a second? The whole pretense is a little... We're so much better than everyone else because we care. I care too. But so do you about your people, and so do others about their people. Everybody cares a lot about a lot of very different things, and... we all go to sleep thinking that maybe we're doing something, but the world never changes. Things stay static, and we all just let time pass by. I guess the only thing we can do is hope that we die being proud of what we've accomplished.
You contradict yourself, Gabriel. You said that many things had changed. Now you say they don't.
Things have changed. This is true. But the greater scheme of things don't. Gaia is still in a bad spot. It will be in a bad spot after I die. After my children have died, if I have children. And after their children have died. We're working towards something. Yes, this is true. But I'm just not... I guess the reality is hitting me that though things changed in my life and I see it, I'm not gonna live to see the world be a better place.
You can't fix it all. We can fix some things. Some things are very great. If you want to make the world better, Gabriel, look on Ranch Apocalypse. And then, if you, Gabriel, want to make the world better, you get your people to fix their mess. That would make the world better.
I guess
At
that's kinda
least
part of the
here.
plan. I guess that's kind of part of the plan. I mean, Look, dude, I'm being again. Sorry, I say dude. Look, again, I'm being honest with you. It's one of those things, right? I'm here to kind of see things, but where that'll take me, I really don't know. But I guess going back to my pack, you asked me if they're different, right? And we're small, but we have alliances with mages, humans, people that once attacked us. We've made truces with. I think we just made alliances with some of the other changing breeds not too long ago.
Which?
Storyteller, I do not remember what the name of the dragon lady is.
Oh, she's a Mokale, specifically of the Zhonglong stream. She was, she was the leader of the Beast Court in Los Angeles. I think it was Wudi Wu Gongzhu was her name. She was the regent of the Beast Court, the Chinese dragon.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Then I'll say, yeah, we made an alliance with the Mokale not too long ago, regent of some sort of beast court. Can I just say really quickly, regent of a beast court? Pretty pretentious, but she's a nice lady.
I find that the changing breeds have no shortage of pretension, she says.
It's just so weird. Why are we adopting European senses of hierarchy when it comes to these things? Yes, I am a regent of a beast court. Why? Dude, you're... Anyway. That's besides the point. You're gonna get me on a rant. But yes, Mokale is one example. We fought with some spider people not too long ago. That was fun. Things are interesting out there in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, America, California, I think it was called.
Yep, Golden State, they call it.
She gives you a kind of a quizzical look.
You know how in the Amazon it's always raining? Now imagine a place where it rains like twice a year. It's always sunny. The weather is always perfect. Well, I mean, it depends on what you define by perfect. I like a little more rain myself. But always cloudy, like, beautiful blue skies, an occasional cloud or two. That's California. Very expensive though. Rent's on the rise.
They don't know the whole of it yet either, do they? This is 2011.
No, they do not. So yeah, picture that. Get rid of the trees though, and just nothing but city.
Manaus is bad enough.
It's 10 times worse than Manaus.
Is it a cesspit like Rio?
No, Rio's more of a cesspit, but very concrete jungle. With Rio, it seems like a lot of these are half-assed construction, but with California, all these are really well done constructions. But it's not. If you ask me, the city planner was a bit of an asshole.
She chuckles. Looks around again.
I look up at the owl. She knows what I'm talking about.
When you point to the bird, it flutters down and lands on a branch.
I think that's her way of saying yes. She gets it. I don't know.
She looks at the bird. It preens its feathers.
Now she's getting cocky.
Does the witch possess the bird?
I never really asked her how she does it. I guess if I had to make an educated guess, They more or less like share senses. She's very good with technology, so maybe she has some sort of like weird computer system that she like hacks into or whatever. I don't know. You know what's the funny thing about
computers? She says.
You know what's the funny thing about that exact statement I say back to her? If you go out there, try to find any weird mumbo jumbo sci-fi horror-scape explanation for why things just work, and they do. Yeah, that's not technology, but yet tell me why sometimes she can just do shit. And then she'll be like, "Oh yeah, I do my best to translate this into like Brazilian. I hacked into the mainframe, pulled the twist-a-majigger, activated the photon laser beams that made me be able to see through a bird's eyes." I don't know.
She says, "Is that a flesh bird or is it a spirit?"
Maybe a bit of A, bit of B. Can't tell you. Or I guess, it's gonna sound rude to you, Eel, I just don't care.
You hear the bird hoots, but you do hear a voice.
Mm-hmm.
And it has that distinct, it's ghostly. It's far away, but it has that distinct southern accent. "Love you too, Gabe."
Fucking told you. You see the hubris in that voice? Hubris, I'm telling you.
"Sugar, I'm just making sure you're alright.
I told you I would be.
And this ain't no bird. It's a spirit. Duh." She said that.
See, it's the hubris. This is what I have to deal with.
"So who's your friend, Sugar?"
I'm gonna be honest, I kind of forgot your name like an hour ago.
She gives you this, looks at the bird. "Alina."
He knows her manners.
"Name's Eel."
I didn't forget. It's just easier for introductions. I'm not that big of an asshole.
"And the reason I talk through owls is because owl's my totem."
Oh, that's what it was.
The eel thing, I ain't getting into that right now.
It's because she's slimy and shocking.
She mutters a couple of ugly epithets in English about you.
Very much proving my point.
But it's clearly in good nature.
If the shoe fits. Wait, do eels wear shoes? No, they don't.
Some of them got legs.
We call those abominations.
"You safe, man?"
I'm probably pretty sure we got like 1, 2, 3, 4 other pairs of eyes on us at this moment in time. Maybe more, maybe less. I don't know. Stop counting at some point. But I'm okay. I guess I don't really care what happens.
"Anything I can do, Sugar?"
Take care of the rest of the pack.
"Doing that."
Is there anyone out there that can do that job better? I don't know of them.
"It's my job, baby."
Well,
Somebody's got to keep these guys from falling off a cliff.
I think we've already failed that maybe a couple times. Where were you when that happened? Pretty sure I fell off a cliff like twice.
"Sugar, I do what I can, but there ain't no cure for stupid."
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you could come up with a cure for stupid if you wanted.
I don't think they'd like it. Sometimes it's better off not knowing what's going on.
I suppose there was that one time Adrian fucked with my brain, and it didn't feel good.
Yeah, I don't really like letting folks mess around my noggin.
Yeah, she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna make your brain better against weirder things," and my brain started to itch, and I didn't like it. So,
well, all right.
On the one hand, I think it like made me like genuinely forget what I did for breakfast that day. So, yeah.
I'm concerned for you, Sugar. That's why I'm checking in. I'm not trying to be no mother hen. Just making sure you're all right.
You know, I knew that would happen. I just kind of got on the flight, didn't really say anything, and I kind of just left. But like, at the same time, I just kind of thought I feel like I just needed to get out of there. And I wasn't gonna do any good. You don't want me around right now. I'm gonna get everybody killed.
You do what you gotta do, Sugar. We all gotta make a journey sometimes. I know all about that. Sometimes the timing ain't great for the rest of the pack, like me at an NDL when I went on a little mental walkabout there. But y'all put up with it from me. So why wouldn't I put up with it from you?
Yeah. Alright, Eel. I'm gonna keep walking at some point.
Alright.
Again, just keep everybody safe. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me.
I'll check in every so often.
Also answer the question, are you doing this through a computer screen, or is it like what kind of techno bullshit is this?
This one? You aren't gonna believe me. I'm whispering to the wind. I ain't just a hacker, baby. I'm a shamanist too.
You're right, I don't believe it. Okay. I feel like I just lost $5 on a bet.
You know I got lots of tricks. They ain't all technical.
That's fair. That is fair. But hey, again, I'll talk to y'all eventually. Tell Rain not to worry too much. Well, not that she is. I don't really think she is.
Oh, she asks me about you all the time. You're her pack mate. She cares more about you than you think.
Now that's a mother hen then. But hey, again, it's nice talking to you, Eel. It's always good to hear your voice. Send Joseph my best wishes. Hugs and kisses to all of you.
Now, Sugar, I know you gotta do what you gotta do. But I hope you can make it back for the wedding. And then the bird flies off.
Told you she was gonna marry a wolf.
The cat watches it fly off in kind of a WTF expression.
Oh, I don't know if you caught a word of that. That was what we call the most bumfuck redneck English in history.
She says, I speak English, but I don't know what that was.
Sometimes I don't know what that is either.
And she'd be mad if you heard her call her a redneck.
What you gonna do? Probably pretty bad stuff.
Yeah, she'd be like, I am not a redneck. I am urban white trash, Sugar.
Well, with that said, that's one of my my friends, and she cares a lot. She means well. So I hope that didn't make you uncomfortable at all. But
she says, the children of Omina enjoy secrets.
They do.
So do the children of Cat. Says, I'm simply gathering a few.
Well, I'm sure you're gonna learn a lot. I really don't care one way or another.
She gives you a, okay. One of those, I'm not going to stop you.
I guess I just feel like sharing. Putting it lightly and realistically, what is it gonna change? What? You, in the middle of the Amazon, are somehow, magically, in some way, shape, or form, gonna use what you learned today to affect me, who is thousands of miles, or my group in the Americas, in some capacity, in a war that doesn't really matter to you at all? Guess I just don't care.
What is the war you are fighting that doesn't matter to me so much?
Prejudice? Is that the right word? Hate?
Hate is a poison. Hate poisoned this land.
It did. But a different, very our sort of hate. I'm sure you know this, and I'm sure you've seen it. There are people of our tribes, of our peoples, that are very set in their ways. I mean, think about it.
Her expression is spectacularly unsurprised.
Yeah, so I guess, how many debates have I had with tribal elders, trying to get them to understand why their way of handling a situation based on existing doctrine and beliefs and prejudices and hates is the wrong way to handle that? More times than I can count. And yet, does anything ever change? Not really. As I've discussed, we have mages marrying werewolves. They're gonna have to do their own thing, and that's cool. But you know how much resistance there was to that? A lot. What about alliances with other changing breeds? Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. You know this. You saw me, and you immediately wanted to hurt me. I'm not alone in that. Do I want to hurt you? No, I don't. If you wanted to kill me, that's fine, but I'm not going to kill you.
Killing you, if you are not a direct threat to me, would do me little good. Perhaps some bragging rights. Says.
Yeah, I have the scars to show them, but do I care about them? No.
She folds her arm across her chest.
Honor and glory mean nothing when the fate of our peoples isn't advancing.
You, Garou, talk so much about honor.
Oh, they do. Tell me about it, they do. I have to hear my pack leader talk about how I was such an asset in battle. I can only do that so many times, when at the end of the day, I just killed people. A lot of people. That's honorable. That means something. That's glorious. That's bragging. I should be doing.
Some people need to die.
Yeah, if I could go back in time and kill Hitler, I would. But at the end of the day, I don't feel good about every kill I make. I'm sure there are people out there with families. Just how I have my packs, other people have theirs. And they didn't do anything wrong like 80% of the time.
She clearly has thoughts, but she keeps them to herself. Apparently she's not as inclined to dive into that philosophical discussion just now.
He pauses in silence and says, all I'm saying is that the more I sit down to think about the things I've done, I've tried to sort out the good from the bad, but everything is just gray.
I think, Gabriel, she says, you and your people often get so caught up in questions of what is right and what is wrong, what is black and what is white. Gaia made the world. She made the Wyrm and the Weaver and the Wild. She made dark and light. She made them to be in balance. They are out of balance, but all the same, she is not the Catholic God of right and of wrong. She is nature. She is life. She is the passion of the world. When the jaguar slays an alligator, it is hunting. It does not debate the rightness of the hunt. It does what it must. It does what it was made to do. That is its part in the weave. Just as it was the alligator's part to lie in wait in the water and take an unwary creature that came by. Is the alligator wrong to take a tourist that wandered away from his group? No. It took prey. Prey that was weak and foolish and stupid for being there, and that deserved it, by being out of sync.
I guess I just don't see the grand design for the trees.
Maybe that is why you are here.
I suppose if I were to simplify things like that and just say, hey, there is some grand design. Gaia made things black like this, and that is the way things are. You know what? Maybe I could sleep at night. But then I think about half the reason I'm here. I'm just gonna pull the band-aid. My ancestors did your people a lot of harm.
She says, they did.
And yet I'm supposed to say, oh, well, that's just how shit turned out?
You have been given a moment. They were out of balance. Their choices may not have been your choices. You may not have made them. You may not have guilt for them. But you have opportunities to... She chuckles. We do not trust foreigners that come telling us they will make things right. That is what Golgol did. But this, where we're going, is a stain on the mother that both of us are supposed to love. Golgol and his fools are not here. Most of them are dead. And what remained went home with their glory. You want to know about honor? Honor is responsibility. To see what is undone that is hard, that can be done, and to do it. Honor is not to use the right form of address with an elder. Honor is in here.
Funny thing is, 80% of what you just said is sacrilegious amongst my people, which is baffling to me, even though it just feels like so much common sense.
You will not surprise to hear me say that the wolves are fools.
Again, we have really good noses, so we can sniff our asses better.
But you are in an interesting place, she says. You who are and are not a foreigner. The Garou are not from these lands, though some of them came and took some of our kin. many of which we have taken back after you left, I might add. But you are a child of this land originally. So you're not entirely a foreigner. But you have an opportunity to walk this place. You had the privilege of being free to leave your pack and come here. Or to abandon them and flee here, though your owl woman didn't seem too disturbed by it. But you also, if my eyes are not blind, will have the privilege of, after you have found whatever it is you are looking for here, perhaps it is what I am showing you, of going back, telling tales, letting your people know what their cousins have left here, the stain on the land, the stain on the name of your people, the colossal hubris that they have shown here. And she chuckles for a moment and says, and also the opportunity. The hungry mud. Have you any idea, if you do not care, or your people do not care for making right what they made wrong, have you any idea what is left behind in the hungry mud of their ranch?
I guess we'll find out, huh?
You will find many of the ghosts of your people trapped there. We could not rescue them. We would not rescue them.
Yeah, I was about to ask, why would you?
But many of them came here with, what was the Garou word for them? Fetishes. Many objects imbued with spirits. Powerful ones come here for their glorious war. And they took the spirits of the jungles and made many more as ammunition for their invasion. And as they died in the mud, these things remained and are being consumed along with them. Along with their bones, these spirits, these fetishes, are trapped still there. We of the Balaam, believe that the Great Bane is slowly corrupting them. We know that the Wyrm wolves come sniffing at the edges to see what they can find. They don't venture in. I think they are waiting. They are afraid of the Great Bane, but they know there are treasures there that they could take if they are sufficiently corrupted. If your Garou don't care enough for making right what is wrong, they may care for the plunder that they could take if they will fix it. For the secrets they may pry from the hungry mud, and for the ghosts of their people that are trapped there, being slowly made wrong.
You've given me a lot to think about. I mean, obviously I care about all what you said. I mean, every single aspect of it is horrible. I just... Maybe a part of me is just afraid. Not of challenging it. I mean, if I could go out there and fight and fight and fight, I would. I'm afraid of going back and sharing these stories and fighting the good fight to convince them to do the right thing, and then just to hear the response back. And
what response do you expect?
The obvious one. You know the Garou. There are bigger battles to be had.
There was a time, I am told, when Fangs first said there was no battle greater than the one here.
A lot of things have changed.
his descendants left. And left the bones of their brothers and their sisters and their mothers and their cousins and their packs.
Fame is a powerful motivator. It really, really is. But hubris consumes them. Pride consumes them. Avoidance of wanting to look back at their decisions. I mean, we really felt bad. I look at her, I look at her people. We would have talked about this a long time ago.
The past is full of many wrongs. You cannot change the past. While you cannot remove the harm your people have done, it cannot be done, but you can if you are courageous and not foolish, do better.
Let's get some sleep. You're right. You're 100% right. I think I just need to think about that. For a stranger, you've done more good to me than a lot of others have.
Sometimes we need some silence before we can listen.
So we're going to the camp tomorrow, right?
Right.
Lots to see.
I think that is our end scene for that moment.
Awesome.